Hello, this is Resident Evil Academy, and today I will be going over my picks for the top 10 of scrapped enemies in Resident Evil games. This is not a list that has any order whatsoever, I just kinda laid down the B.O.Ws. Well, let's go ahead and get started. And coming in at number 1, we have Weskers Monster. Weskers Monster was intended for the release of Resident Evil 0 on the Nintendo 64. Weskers Monster was meant to serve Albert Wesker and help kill off Bravo Team, but Wesker was scrapped as the game's main villain in favor for the Leech Boy himself, James Marcus. The reason to this was because Wesker couldn't really be present for both 0 and the first game. Now, Weskers Monster would eventually be redesigned and turned into the Eliminator, which came out in the GameCube remake. Now, my thoughts about Weskers Monster. Looking at it visually, it's terrifying, okay? Like, I look at it, I'm getting like, bat monkey vibes with those big beady eyes, those claws, the tail. Yeah, overall a terrifying enemy. Coming in at number 2, we have the Zombie Ape. The Zombie Ape was intended for the release of Resident Evil 2, and the Zombie Ape was infected with the T-Virus along with plenty of other zoo animals at the Raccoon City Zoo. The first appearance of the Zombie Ape was in Resident Evil 1.5, where it burst out of an umbrella truck in the RPD parking lot. Now, the Zombie Ape did make it into Resident Evil 1.5, but it was scrapped for the true release over Resident Evil 2. To me, the Zombie Ape was absolutely terrifying. Like, looking at it visually, the whole thing going on with its arm, even the color scheme of it, it was just terrifying in general. Coming in at number 3, we have the Tyrant Inferior. The Tyrant Inferior was intended for the release of Resident Evil 3, and it didn't make it past the design stage. The Tyrant Inferior were failed mutations of complete tyrants, and they would appear across Raccoon City. They were capable of running very fast apparently, well, at least according to the notes. We have no clue if this is actually true or not. Now, my thoughts about it, when you think about it, right? A creature that's similar to a tyrant, not as good in strength, but is still fast enough to catch you, is terrifying, right? Like, visually, it's pretty terrifying. It's not the scariest one on the list, but like, it's still gonna make me shit my pants if I see it running at me at Mach fucking 3. Coming at number 4, we have Richard. Sorry, I always laugh at the name because it's just called Richard. Richard was an officer in the Federal Bioterrorism Commission, and he was sent to the Queen Zenobia, where he was then killed by an ooze. I forgot to mention, Richard is from Resident Evil Revelations. His mutation was partial at first, allowing him to have some intelligence, where he would write a diary before he was completely mutated by the T-Abyss virus. Richard himself was replaced by Rachel Foley in the final game. Now, the scary part about Richard is you get to see the process of him turning into an ooze. And like from the very start, you can see like how he has like some human qualities, like his face, things like that, right? But he slowly turns unnoticeable into a creature that like is terrifying. I love it. Coming in at number 5, we have the Veronica Zombie, which was meant to appear in the Operation Javier scenario of the Dark Side Chronicles. The Veronica Zombie was a zombie that underwent further mutations from the T. Veronica virus. And in all honesty, there isn't much known about this zombie other than the fact like the design of it was pretty cool in my opinion. And I felt like the experimental nature of it really felt the arcade shooter vibes that came from the Dark Side Chronicles, and I would definitely love to see more of it. Coming in at number 6, we have the Transforming Creature. The Transforming Creature was meant to appear in Resident Evil 3. The Transforming Creature itself has two designs, Design A and Design B. Design A was a slim human with eyes on its forehead, and its hands were able to turn into mouths to attack the character. Design B was a lot less human, with much of the body being a mouth, and like a majority of the body went through a huge mutation, where it's red, slimy, covered in mouths, Honestly, just really disgusting and scary. And like, when I was reading up on this, one of the scariest ways that one of the scariest things it could do was how it attacked the player. So what it would do, it would grab the player by the arms with its mouth hands and just rip off their arms. Like, there isn't much more that you can say about that other than like, what the fuck, because that's terrifying. Coming in at number 7, we have the Mysterious Enemy. The Mysterious Enemy was meant to appear in Resident Evil 3. This enemy never made it past the concept phase. The mysterious enemy was a human that looked much like an arthropod and was able to jump over 10 meters. When I was looking at this, I kinda laughed because like, it's pretty funny when you think about it. Like, it's kind of like a human cricket. This dude over here jumping 10 meters up in the air just to attack you. That's pretty funny. Like, reminds me of a cricket. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Coming in at number 8, we have SpiderMan. Please, not the Marvel one. SpiderMan was meant to be released for Resident Evil 0 on the Nintendo 64, but it got rejected in the design phase. Now, there isn't much that we can talk about this other than the design, and I think the design of it was honestly really cool, and they should have kept it. Like, just looking at it visually, you can see the spider attached to the, I guess the host's back would be the best way to put it, the host's back, and you can see the appendages of the spider coming out of the limbs of the host. And if that isn't terrifying you, I'm not sure what will terrify you then, because like, that's pretty damn scary when you think about it. Like, he's just attached on there, and he attacks from, I'm not sure how he attacks. My speculation is like he can like shoot webs that slow you down or something. Other than that, just like a regular zombie. Maybe inflict poison on you, don't know. Coming in at number 9, we have the Malice enemy. The Malice enemy was a creature meant for Resident Evil 6, and it was a creature infected by the C virus. Now, I honestly laughed whenever I read this entry. The Malice enemy would walk in a weird fashion, kind of like a person walking on their hands. Now, that was really funny for me to read, and like I crack up whenever I think about it. Like, imagine like you're just sitting there playing Resident Evil 6 for the first time, and this thing comes shambling out at you, looking like a person walking on their hands. I would like, I honestly wouldn't be scared. I would just laugh. And it has a scary design though, like regardless of what I just said, like it still has a scary design, and I definitely think it would have fit like the appeal of Resident Evil 6. I would definitely love to see it. Coming in at number 10, we have the DALI, or the Dolly. The Dolly was intended for Resident Evil 0, and the name for Dolly means DNA arranged lack of intelligence. Kind of like a roast at the same time. So it never made it past the concept stage, and a couple of quick things I want to throw in because I forgot to throw this in at the very start of this part because I'm an idiot. The Dolly was made by genetic recombination, but it lacks intelligence, hence the name DNA arranged lack of intelligence. It's literally an idiot. Now, the Dolly was later replaced by another enemy that we all know, well, most of us know at least, the Plague Crawler. Now, I was looking through photos of both of them to like really see which one I would be more terrified of, and I determined I would be more terrified of the concept art for the Dolly. This thing is, to me at least, terrifying. It is so much scarier than a Plague Crawler. I would rather run into a Plague Crawler than fight this thing, in all honesty. Well, that was my list for the top 10 rejected enemies for Resident Evil. And I had so much fun making this list. I had so much fun reading up on all the enemies, learning things I didn't know, which is very rare for me to come by. I feel like I know a lot about the lore, so finding things I don't know was amazing. And I just want to say before I continue on, I'm really enjoying making videos, and I'm just having the time of my life right now. And I am happy that I am able to continue making these videos, especially now that I found the drive and like the best creative outlet possible to create these. Alright, well that's it for today. This was Resident Evil Academy, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.